So, we live in a world full of stressors. A lot of stressors we have. We have here noise, we have radiation, we have traffic, we have dust, and we have pollution everywhere. The problem is the evolution missed adequate adaptation. Missing to a poorly developed approach for the avoidance strategy. We have no coping inflammation processes, and we have no adequate immune system. This takes years, over 1,000 years, over a million years, but we don't have the time now. Development is very quick. So this is the position we have now, the metabolism of the environmental substance we can work with. We have too much from the environment put in. We have a lot of nutrition problems, rising problems. We have no possibility to cope with this, and this is dependent on the individuality of us people. The problem doesn't start with the barrel overrunning, but it starts with the filling of the barrel, with stress, with electricity, with the gut problems, with solvents and formaldehyde, with preservatives, with dental amalgam, and so on and so on. And when you reach this position, the next thing coming into the barrel, you think there's the problem to have. The problem starts from the bottom. So we have to look for all those triggers, those stressors, those reasons which will fill this barrel. This is physical one. These are chemical one, chemical toxic one. These are social, psychosocial one. These are biological. And in each sector, we have to look what we have to diminish and what we can diminish. You can't diminish anymore some radiation around you. We should, but we can't. You can't diminish the lot of pesticides and fungicides. We should, but we cannot as a single. We have a lot of problems in our education and family situation. The day-night rhythm is gone. We have no families. You in Italy you have, but in Germany the families broke out. We don't have the ground family anymore. And the nutrition is very bad. The gut problems are around. So what we have to look for is those four sectors. What can we diminish, and we should do, and if we do this, your regulation system starts again, and you can probably manage the rest. This is the problem we have. Chemistry, one sector of this, is bothering the immune system. And this is done by these triggers or stressors, and it will lead into chronic inflammation. And if you have this chronic inflammation, you have first some problems with your genetic pool. You might have problems with epigenetic during pregnancy, like this, and you have a depletion of minerals, vitamins, like this here, toxic intake. And there you make this round, and this round, and you're ill by this circle. And this all is triggered below these other thing we showed you, just complex immune system, bacteria, mold, particles. Don't forget these particles we put into our teeth. Titanium. Titanium is not an allergy, but allergen. It is inducing inflammation by particles. These particle problems rising problem in our population. We have these how to call it in English? Semibiotica, we call it. Okay, cigarettes, indoor pollution. And we have these metallic problems by implantation. I told you just this centennial, but you make a hip implantation, a knee implantation, and by this way, or you have an accident and get a metal into your bone, then you have a problem, might be a problem if this goes over activation of inflammation into this process too. We know a multi-causal, long-term, and low-dose toxic burden is able to generate an extremely strong and prolonged violation. It is especially then when they are vulnerable, they have some illnesses before, or they are young, they are old, and probably not able to detoxify the mode in the correct way. This might be due to the genetic pool and, of course, the disabled neuroendocrine immune system. In our population, we have a well-known, this is epidemiological proved, prevalence of environmental illnesses. You should know that 15 to 30% of the population suffers under environmental circumstances. 15 to 30%. And 4 to 9% out of the population suffer from severe, very severe multisystemic illnesses like multiple sensitivity. Those patients, those people couldn't stay here. So there's a lot of perfume inside here. And they are not able to stay here. They go ill immediately. Or chronic fatigue syndrome. You might have heard from fibromyalgia, pain disease. And those are 4 to 9%. There's no interest in this population. If you know that 4 to 9% is the same prevalence as diabetes in our population. Diabetes has a lobby. Those patients don't. They are outsourced of the population. We deal always with information. This picture, some of my pupils during teaching did this. Information starts in the liver. Okay. Chronic inflammation lead to a rapid process of aging. Skin, organs, metabolism, and function. It is leading to a dysfunction of the so-called mitochondria. These mitochondria are the energy base inside the cell, which produce, we call it ATP. We need this ATP for each process, thinking, moving, everything. And if inflammation occurs, this work isn't done anymore, or not good enough, and we lose a lot of, we call it free radicals, which themselves damage processes, damage tissue, maybe your skin's shrinking, your organs dysfunction, and this is the most bad thing we are working on, the dysfunction of the mitochondria. And the dysfunction of the neuroendocrine immune system. This neuroendocrine immune system you see here, brain, comes to every station inside the brain. There are a lot of immunological work to be done inside the brain, and we can disturb this or make it work bad by this inflammation process. Our current risk assessment, political, medical, or whatever you want, is unsatisfactory. And this is due to the insistence on the dose-effect relationship. This doesn't happen. Our medicine of the university wants you to know that we have a linear causal way from one thing to another. But this is untrue. We are complex, and thereby we have no dose-related, dose-effect relationship. Assessment is unsatisfactory. We are missing and the assessment of accumulation and long time those effects. They don't look for multiple load with additive and multiplying effects. They don't look for, they disregard the neuroendocrine immune problem and the individual susceptibility, which means if you are genetically on the bad side that you can react immediately, then you are not able to getting to stay in this contact with the higher pollution and your vulnerability as well. Why do we have this environmentally linked illness? Nearly no awareness from the scientific mainstream. This is due to environmentally linked illnesses are complex, as I told you before. Missing basic medical knowledge. Having no specific clinical, practical, environmental medical training, you don't know nothing about this. Therefore, therefore they fix on the psychiatric and psychosomatic diagnosis. If a doctor doesn't find anything by his machines, he mostly says, I don't find anything, you don't have something, it must be psychosomatic or psychiatric. And it's easier to say this. Environmental medicine is no specific target of sponsor, and by this probably influence research. No universities and research area, we have up to 85% covered by the industry. So industry says, okay, this subject is interesting, we do this. But if they have environmental medical subjects, they are not interested in, for they can earn money from this. I think they can, they don't find it. Missing willingness by the researching scientists to cooperate with physicians, which are whistleblowers, they've been working in their clinical, practical, environmental medicine. Consequences. We get our information from this missing assessment. We get our information about hazardous effects too late, mostly end of the pipe. After long-term and heavy endurance, contaminating a high amount of people, setting irreversible health damages, passing the point of no return to get rid of persistent contamination to people. This is an end of the pipe mentality. Long life burdening, examples out of the last 30 years. You all know this about asbestos, about wood preservatives like penachlorophene, Linden, or DDT, PCBs, HCB. We have this over years and years, and we're told, oh, don't matter, this doesn't matter at all. But from one day to another, they said, okay, this is bothering you, this is toxic, so we get rid of penachlorophene, like Linden only. It was forbidden in 1989, from one day to another. Some of our DDT was forbidden in 72, but still we have in our patient, we still prove this DDT for its long-term storing in the body, the fat tissue. WHO just starting to think about to battle against malaria, to give this DDT once again free. It's very bad. We don't manage the formaldehyde problem. This formaldehyde is very toxic, and we have it everywhere. Since '92, we know this is a carcinogen, a human carcinogen as well. We don't think about we think, but our scientific, mainstream scientific medicine doesn't think about that. Mercury is the worst metal poison we have, the worst metal poison which is not ready. So, then we have the softeners, even in our medical things. we need these softeners in your bottles, of water bottles. We have it in your offices as well. The demographic development of the population will lead to an excessive increase of the age pyramid. This is, okay, this is all now this. Growing old happens on a price on an increasing chronic illnesses. Yeah, the possibility of a long-term coping of this end of the pipe strategy by only treating symptoms instead of causalities. Exponentially increasing costs in health systems and foreseeable breakdown of the European health systems. This is the old, this is the old battle. Old patient, we can decide what is right because the patient is suffering. The paradigm of clinical environmental medicine is not only the dose defines the toxic effect, but the sum of dose, multitoxicity, time of burden, vulnerability, susceptibility, and actual functionality of the detoxification. Simply, things like sick building syndrome are easy to treat. You diminish only the causality, the burden, take away the burden, and then it helps. But there is a lot of things we have to treat with other complex systems. We have to look for exogenous and endogenous trigger, individual susceptibility, actual vulnerability, dysfunction of the neuroendocrine immune system, dysfunction of the metabolism, a dysfunction of food intake and processing of the food, chronic inflammation, free radicals, and depletion of the micronutrients. Quicker, if you have only 3 minutes, you have to be quicker. Following the strategy of clinical environmental medicine, you gain healthier daily life. Stop rapidly early aging and start well aging. For primarily prevention, we need urgently awareness of the environmental medicine, doctors' acceptance of complex illnesses, and education, clinical environmental medicine, awareness, diagnosis, treatment, and patients' information, avoidance, and prevention. Thank you very much.